Hello C# programmers! My name is Tony and today I'm going to teach you how to install Visual Studio. To install Visual Studio you have to go to visualstudio.microsoft.com. As you can see, it has three versions: Community, Professional and Enterprise. You should install the Community version because it's free and is more suitable for beginners, students, and even professional programmers usually use it. Let me install it and then I will tell you what actually Visual Studio is and why you need it. So, here's what you've got after you open the installation file. You should simply press continue and then it will start downloading and installing additional files. I have already installed Visual Studio Installer and that's why everything was so fast. When everything is ready, you should see this screen. Here it asks you which components you need to install for Visual Studio. I have really often seen people to do the following thing. They simply click on every option that they see, but that actually is not correct because you will never use some of them. What you should do is taking your time to actually see what every package should provide you and to determine if you really need it or you may go without it. However, if you don't know what you need to start programming, there is one package that will provide you everything that you need to start developing yourself, and this is .NET Desktop Development. You should select it and simply press install. This option gives you .NET Core SDK, which will be used to build, run and execute your code, .NET Framework, which is an older version, and some other features that you may or may not use, but are nice to have. You simply press install and wait for it. So, Visual Studio is an IDE used by almost every programmer that writes his code in C#. IDE means Integrated Development Environment, and it provides mechanisms to run, debug, build, deploy and test your code. It also has many other features. For example, it makes your code look better, it takes care of the indentation, helps you to install additional packages, and so on. However, if your operating system is not Windows, you either have to install Visual Studio Code, or if you are using Mac, Visual Studio for Mac. If you are using Windows, then please install Visual Studio, because Visual Studio Code actually is not an IDE, but a simple text editor. It uses a lot of extensions behind the scene that may have bugs within, and this may lead to a bad programming process. You know, when you write something and there are plenty of errors because of some extension you are using and not because of your code. So, Visual Studio has been successfully installed and this is what you've got out of the box. You can create a new project and here you will see all the different project types you have been provided with. Let's create a simple console app. Let's call it My First App. You should click on Create and Visual Studio will do all the work for you. So, our first project has been created successfully. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see the initial code that has been created along with the project and the solution. You can execute it using the combination Ctrl F5. As you see, everything works as expected and our Visual Studio has been successfully configured and is ready for use.